The world we know is the thin crust covering our planet, and the thin atmosphere that clings to it. In the cold expanse of space, this is our home, our warm and safe place, where we were born, where our children will be born. This place was once thought to be so big, there was surely room for everyone to live how they wanted, where they wanted, using whatever they needed. And for a long time, we have lived as if that were true. But what if, in a few decades, the 6 billion people on this planet become 12 billion people? How will they live and work? What if our basic resources become rare instead of plentiful? Can humans sustain our current standard of living? Or does our very lifestyle condemn future generations to something less? A life of paying back our environmental debts. Sustainable living requires each individual to help address these questions, to learn to live in harmony with the natural world of which we are an integral part, and to do so in a way that community and commerce can thrive. Sustainability calls each of us to care for our environment through a responsible and efficient use of natural resources, to build an economy that is connected to and can thrive in a social and environmental context, and to bring about nothing less than a cultural change in the way we live our lives.
I would hope that sustainability becomes synonymous with beauty, that we begin to think of something as sustainable when it is genuinely beautiful. And in that sense, sustainability is about devising systems that cause no ugliness, human or ecological, at some place else or some later time. So we begin to widen the concept of what we do in the world. It can't damage people. It can't damage long-term ecological resilience and productivity. What the concept is, that's for the students to see this tape. That will be one of their life goals, I hope. And that's something they have to get right.
Whatever your major is, whatever your career may be, you will experience opportunities to look at things in different ways, to integrate new technologies. These individual decisions and efforts made by you and your peers will create a new sustainable lifestyle. Each of us will need one another to achieve success.
The sun is a great source of energy. It supplies a lot of energy, but the problem comes in converting that energy from the sun into the energy in a form that we can use it.
Here's one of the new hybrid cars that is designed to be more environmental friendly, and basically what this does is it combines a gasoline powered engine with an electronic motor. That the electronic motor kicks in when you stop the car at a stoplight. You can the car actually cuts off to conserve gas, but at the same time your radio and your air conditioning and the other features you have in the car continue to operate. And when you step back on the gas to accelerate, the car cuts back on and continues on wherever you're headed. Actually, you can hardly hear this run. It's extremely quiet.
Every year, 1.5 trees for each person in the United States are destroyed to create paper for junk mail. Almost half of that is thrown away unopened. Every day, each of us consumes an average of 120 pounds in natural resources. Each gallon of gas we use in our car results in 19 pounds of carbon dioxide pumped into the atmosphere. The types of food we decide to eat can have huge implications for the use or abuse of water, land, antibiotics, and pesticides. Our use of cleaners and cosmetics can release toxic chemicals into our bodies and the ecosystem. To achieve a sustainable world, we must take a personal interest in protecting our environment and use what we have more efficiently. The 3 most important things you can do are: reduce the amount of resources you use, reuse the resources you have, and recycle what you've used. To do these successfully, you have to think about what you really need and how you use what you have.
This is to show how the population is growing around the world. Now each of these beans represents 100 million people, and what we're going to do is place beans around this map to show the population distribution. Africa is going to have 8 beans, Central and South America 5 beans, Asia 37 beans, North America 3 beans, and Europe 7 beans. And now Hallie is going to show us how the population is going to grow over the next 50 years.
So now the year is 2050 and we're going to add beans to reflect the population in that year. Africa needs to add 5 beans, Central and South America 1 bean, Asia 6 beans, North America 0 beans, and Europe take away 1 bean.
As far as energy is concerned, which area do you think is going to use up the most energy?
Asia.
Asia? Any other ideas?
Africa.
Okay, maybe Africa. Yeah, because those are the 2 areas that have the most population. So now let's take a look at this and say each of these beans represents energy usage. So now we're going to add beans to represent how much each continent uses in energy. And so Hallie's going to do that for us. This is how much energy North America uses compared to all of the rest of the world.
Are your habits wasteful? Does your lifestyle rely heavily on consumer products? How much of what you buy makes a real difference in your life? How much of it ends up in the trash? We are blessed with an earth abundant in natural resources, but these resources are limited, and the earth's ability to renew itself is limited. The amount of water you use, the trips you take, every disposable item that goes through your hands contributes to the cumulative effect of pollution and the depletion of our natural environments. It doesn't have to be that way. A key to sustainability is a healthy economy, an economy in tune with its social and environmental setting. How do all of these complex systems and economic forces interact? How do we sustain an optimum balance among them? If the environments in which commerce thrives are not cared for, markets will lose their sources of revenue and collapse.
What's he got? I got you.
$28.
In an unsustainable market, the basis of the customer relationship, goods and services, evaporates, slowly, transaction by transaction.
50 and 30.
25.
ladies and gentlemen, and my friends. I'm very pleased to be here.
Too much and for too long, we seem to have surrendered personal excellence and community values in the mere accumulation of material things. Our gross national product now is over $800 billion a year. Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children, the quality of their education, or the joy of their play.
It does not include the beauty of our poetry, or the strength of our marriages, the intelligence of our public debate, or the integrity of our public officials. It measures neither our wit nor our courage, neither our wisdom nor our learning, neither our compassion nor our devotion to our country. It measures everything in short, except that which makes life worthwhile. And it can tell us everything about America, except why we are proud that we are Americans.
What if products came with environmental warning labels or price tags that told you the real costs of a product?
I think we're beginning to learn that everyday products in our life have consequences that we're not aware of in terms of not only affecting our own health, but also affecting the health of aquatic systems. Things like antibacterials can, if not used properly or overused, can result in lowered disease resistance, can result in the formation of viruses or bacteria that are resistant to typical antibiotics or antibacterial chemicals. We're finding that things like caffeine or antibiotics that we even excrete in excess that we're prescribed for diseases and end up in our streams and are hormone mimics for some organisms and actually disrupt behaviors, breeding, result in anomalies in reproductive systems. And if those things are possible for aquatic organisms, it's certainly possible that as those things are consumed or passed on through food webs, that kind of disease resistance can be passed on to other organisms and groups.
Trying to do is promote sustainable farming practices, and when we talk about sustainable, we mean being productive with what we grow, having a economic viability factor. Farmers need to obviously make money with their operation to stay in business. And then the third part of it is preserving the environment while we're farming, and maybe even enhancing the environment with our farming practices. And in some ways, we're going back to some of the old practices that people used to do, and we're with sustainable farming, we're kind of taking a long-term planning approach.
Initially, we were really interested in it because we wanted 8 girls to live somewhere all together. We didn't want to get split up. We originally got in this cottage mostly for the social benefits. We thought all 8 of us living together, that would be awesome, you know.
I can take you on my own.
We are all in the habits of keeping the lights off, not running the waters when we're not using them, so it's taught me a lot about saving energy.
These are our solar panels.
They pretty much explained that basically the house was what was being experimented, and we were just kind of living our regular lifestyles.
People know that if they come into this house, people have to recycle. And so they do. They ask us, you know, oh, where do I put this can, or where do I put this or that?
When they think of an environmental cottage, they think of like that we have to be sort of environmental nerds, that we're like granola girls, or, you know, there's this stereotypical idea about people that are environmentally concerned. But now we've gotten into the groove of things, and we want to work to change the world around us. And I guess it shows anybody out there that they can too.
Who will help fashion the new sustainable free enterprise system? Those who create a sustainable economy will need to understand the complex relationships in our environment, in our markets, and in our culture as a whole. Achieving sustainability will more than likely be accompanied by a sea change of cultural values and attitudes toward our resources.
I mean, it's just like, you know, you throw your trash in the trash can, you're brought up with that, you know, now you throw your beer bottles in the glass recycling can. I don't think it's, you know, you're not like, oh, what do I do with my trash all the time?
The thing that really gets under my skin is thinking about how, you know, we're the only species that systematically destroys our habitat. I think communities should be constructed and so that the human footprint is fairly minimal. The smaller we can make that impact, the better, I mean, in my mind.
I think future conflicts will be fought over water and other resources. They have been in the past. And when I say fought over, I mean both interstate wars and also internal conflicts. Civilizations have risen and fallen on their ability to provide for the basic economic necessities of their populations. And certainly we should be concerned that conflicts over resources like water, like oil, like sustainable agriculture will happen in the future. And by the future, I mean this century.
Professionally, the thing I would like most to do is to continue educating other people about what sustainability is. And I'd like to be able to do that through, you know, teaching younger children about the finite resources of the world, and also the ability to communicate with other cultures around the world.
One of the things that we can do as social workers is what we call macro social work, which is more community organizing, program development. I think besides materialistic things, there's definitely other ways of measuring a good life.
Trying to conserve water by taking short showers or turning off the sink when you're brushing your teeth so that you're not running the water. I'd like to work in a bigger city, and I think carpooling with people from work, you could maybe influence other people that you're working with by trying to get a carpool together.
To purchase detergent that is dye and perfume free. I try to bicycle to school often, and I take out the old incandescent light bulbs and I put in these compact fluorescent light bulbs. So it's a very conscious effort to minimize. I'm going
to be a retail manager, and basically what that is a small business. I think you can still have a sustainable work environment with everybody getting together, and you know, as long as everybody's aware of what's going on, and then once one person does it, another person does it, and just set good examples for everybody else.
I'm studying in biology, and in my field I hope to promote or create safer chemical products for the companies to use.
I use makeup that is not tested on animals, and it is the bottles and containers it comes in can be recycled, so it doesn't harm the environment. That if everyone thought their actions didn't make a difference, then it really wouldn't. No one would do anything to help. So one person does make a difference if everyone thinks that way.
Environmental cost internalization, I think, is something businesses have to be aware of and start doing, that there is an environmental cost to everything we do, and we need to incorporate that cost into the prices we pay for products.
Greater efficiency in the use of our resources and a focus on long-term economic health can bring about great change in the way we live. We can create families and communities in which people are inspired to achieve a sustainable environment. Cultural change begins with you. The challenge before us: to coordinate individual action with goals for world action, to see our ongoing relationship with the natural world, the land, the sky, air and water, the living and non-living things. In the end, it is a question of balance. Nature, the economy, and our society will continue, but will they continue in a way that serves human health and well-being? As you pursue your career and become involved in various decisions for your office or home, your organization or company, as you make decisions for yourself and your family, do what you can to help achieve a balance. Ask thoughtful and probing questions. Make informed choices. Educate yourself on the issues involved. Exercise your political will. Use your purchasing power. Do what you can to help your community achieve a healthy living space. Try to think through and be aware of the consequences of decisions you make, how they affect your local area, how they affect our world. Raise your children to do these things too. Make sustainability a part of your culture. Aspire to an awareness of all that is around you, how things connect and work together. Know that you are empowered by the desire to live in harmony with this earth. Know that you are empowered to make change. Begin the lifelong process of loving and respecting this planet, to make sure the future is one that will look like we want it to look.